Acolytes. It's not Nintendo's fault. It's ours. From Altori. Now, I heard that Nintendo overpriced a console and some games, so there's that. That's the amount I know about it. But at the end of the day, in a broader sense, I would agree with her. But also, every company decides how much they will charge. And I would say it's more of a 50-50 than the full fault of one specific thing. But let's just see what Altori has to say about it.
When the Nintendo Switch 2 was announced, honestly, I had zero excitement for it. I already have the Switch, but why would I get excited for something that barely innovates anymore? Why would I get excited for...
Yeah, I'm not, but I'm also not a Nintendo fan. I basically just buy PC because, well, yeah, you know why.
Something, knowing that I'm going to be paying even more money for games that aren't even as good in quality and storyline as they used to be. I'm more excited to find older games that I've never played before in older consoles that I didn't even know existed, or ones like Monster Rancher that I absolutely love, than to just sit here and be okay with the newer consoles offering stuff that they're saying we should be excited over, especially when a lot of those are just reported games. So this picture is floating around, and it's exactly one of the reasons why I have a problem with the console industry right now. Nintendo is known for being an innovator, and in some ways they still are. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel as though they've fallen behind, and they've stayed behind for a very long time.
The thing is why people will still buy it. So, I'm gonna be honest, if I could just continue to be very shitty as I was with my first video, I would do it. I'm gonna be honest, I would do the exact same thing. And you have the same thing with Nintendo. They just don't have to evolve, so they won't. Because why? If it works, it works.
It kind of puts me in mind of the iPhone, or Apple in that regard. You know, the iPhone used to be a thing that everybody wanted. It was sleek, it was polished, they were innovating, and then Steve Jobs bit the dust. And it's like the brain behind the vision just collapsed, and now Android is lapping them. You got a lot of iPhones, the same price as flagship Androids, or even more. And when you see them showcase new features, these features that have been out for many, many years in Android, iPhone is out here pretending as though it's a brand new thing. Hey guys, I know you're paying so much money just for the quarter-eaten Apple on the back of your device, but now you can finally drag and drop. You're welcome. Give us $2,000. Then you have companies like Nintendo doing that incremental shift and releasing consoles with very mild upgrades that are still far behind compared to other consoles and expecting you to pay hand over fist for it. And no, it wasn't because of the tariffs, because the president himself of Nintendo America came out and claimed that the tariffs were not factored into the pricing.
Now we're sitting here on April 2nd. It just so happens as we're recording this, the president of the United States right now is announcing his tariffs. You and so many other executives are pulling their hair out, trying to figure out, how do I price my products? How did that come into play as you're deciding how to price the Switch 2 here in the United States?
Yeah, as we price the Switch 2, the price we announced today of $449 for the single SKU, we didn't consider tariffs into that equation. We felt that that was going to be the right price point for our consumers and the right value proposition, if you will, for the device that we're creating.
So there you go, and I figured if that was an actual variable, I'm pretty sure he would have rather used as an excuse to take some of the heat off of them. The thing is, companies like Nintendo have gotten so high off of smelling their own farts because people, we, the audience, have told them for so long, hey, your farts smell so divine. Even when they emit ones that are so disgustingly putrid that they hang in a room like a second atmosphere even long after they leave it. And you know what? I always hold to one principle, or hold into by one principle, right? And it's something that you have to consider as well as a human being or whoever you are living on the earth. People treat you how you allow them to treat you. I've echoed this even in the entertainment industry with the roles that actors take in similar situations, but even more so than that, people treat you how you also treat yourself.
That's correct, yes. Yes. I mean, the thing is, people will treat you as you treat yourself isn't entirely correct. It's always how you defend yourself. I mean, I personally, Acolytes, just so you know, I treat myself extremely harshly. People around me don't do it that much. they actually tell me most of the time, calm down, be a bit more red, you're doing good or bad. But I am like, to myself, I'm like, you can do better. Come on, push yourself a bit more. And at some point, well, you just have to calm down, but,
If you've shown people that you'll eat slop, that you'll lick up the crumbs desperately that they had picked out of their ass crack and thrown into your face and thank them for their generosity, that's on you. And then if other people dare to point that out and make you aware of how you're being taken advantage of and you're making yourself look like a freaking idiot, a lot of you turn around and then get mad at those people and say they're being haters and grifters. Really crazy world we live in. There are people that are so used to being economically abused that they will see these big corporations doing this and not even recognize it. But they'll have such a wicked case of Stockholm Syndrome that if anybody points it out, not even really personally to them, but if someone speaks up about what's going on and they don't have Stockholm Syndrome and they're like, hey, I want to get off this ride. I want you to stop treating me like this. The people who have economic Stockholm Syndrome will just outright attack those people who aren't even paying attention to them and start some kind of crusade against the people who are really criticizing the proverbial economic captors. Strange. That's how you know someone is far gone. So anyway,
I would say Alteori speaks in a very, very precise and good way about this, because you can actually take her words and insert this into every stock of life if you just exchange the words with something different. And it will most of the time fit, so good on
because the populace has gotten used to just accepting everything that's given to them for the sake of comfort, corporations have started leaning into this. And why would they not take advantage of you when time and time again you have allowed them to? I'm not saying that they're not wrong for what they're doing, but they're just taking advantage of a system that we've allowed to work for them. I always like to use the analogy of a toxic partner. You see, the thing is, you've been with Nintendo for a long time, right? Like, Nintendo's the guy, you're the girl. And let's say, like, Nintendo is your husband.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Husband, whatever. And you supported them when they were broke. You fall in love, you support them through bad times. They support you, they entertain you, they've got your back, you got theirs, right? Like, there's nobody like Nintendo. Nintendo is your poppy. Then Nintendo starts to get really popular. They start bringing in money, and at first, Nintendo's like, baby, I got you, I'm gonna treat you. Now that I have all this money, we're gonna create things we've never created, go places, right? We're gonna do things we've never done. Then you notice that the money starts to change them, and because they have all that money, they have all that prestige, they start giving you the bare minimum because, well, according to them, they're the ones enriching your life, right? Nintendo's the one that's more important than you. You must always be there for Nintendo, but if you ask them for an iota of your time, nope, that's not allowed. Nintendo forgets that it needed you there to supply their dream so they could make it a reality. They're only catering to this imaginary consumer base that will just bend over backwards no matter what, and that ain't you anymore. They've forgotten that it's a you help me situation, I help you situation. So they start to manipulate you and gaslight you into thinking they're actually helping you out or being a good partner, when in fact, they're giving you dick. Oh, sorry, no, they're not giving you that. They're not even...
Well, maybe they are giving you dick, so in this case, it's not even wrong.
Giving you that, right? You want that, but they're so busy doing the bare minimum because they know you'll just take them back. They'll keep you around and you'll come home. As long as he puts it down once in a while, after everything is horrible, in a sea of things that don't even matter, it's akin to Nintendo saying, you should be grateful. Aren't I wonderful? I didn't smack you in the mouth today. Praise me. And you, because of the little sad, desperate, loyal fan that you are, still have faith in them. You're so used to seeing them go downhill. When you see that one iota of hope, you kneel before them and say, you're doing so wonderful. You're changing. I guess I'll stay. Or
you're taking the D. Yeah, okay.
All the bad times, nothing compared to the one day I have when you don't smack a bitch up. And then Nintendo just turns to the camera, breaks the fourth wall, and says, stupid bitch. No matter what I do, she'll always take me back. That's kind of the situation that's going on with Nintendo and a lot of corporations. The gaming industry, franchises, entertainment.
And by the way, on effing point, Alteori, yes. This is exactly how it is. Corporations just aren't your friends. They're there to get your money and that's all. I mean, to be honest, acolytes, for F's sake, I try to entertain you, so at least there's that. You just have to give me your soul and body after you actually expire so I can use it as a zombie servant. I mean, that's a fair exchange, isn't it? But now for real, Acolytes, just if you are in this kind of relationship, just cut it. And I know it's harder to say than actually do, but just cut it. It's just... You can follow love at sometimes.
Industry,
not from me.
Music industry, just entertainment in general. Everything can fall under that. It's not even just entertainment though. It's also products, subscriptions.
Well, for the companies, if you can transform everything to some form of subscription service.
To this vision, we're moving from ownership to access.
We're not buying things anymore. We're not buying products. We're not buying stuff. We don't buy DVDs. Instead, we subscribe to services like Spotify. We don't really buy software and install it and deal with the servers. Instead, we subscribe to things like Salesforce and Google. How far can this business model go?
In 2022, BMW tried locking heated seats in their new vehicles behind a subscription paywall for $18 a month. The components for these heated seats were already installed into the vehicles, but BMW placed a block on the software to prevent functionality of this feature. Now, instead of having to pay for this feature up front when selecting a new vehicle, they tried locking it behind a microtransaction. It wasn't just heated seats though, because of course you're going to want the heated steering wheel too.
They figure if everyone is doing it and we provide something that they don't have any choice but to get, they'll just keep paying for it forever just to have access.
And to be honest, it works. I hope it doesn't work for a long time, but it works. Yeah, so...
Got him.
Got him. We fucking got him.
I tried explaining this to my husband, even with the App Store. I used to be someone who downloaded so much software just to get the stuff I want to try out because I like using new tech and new software and new games and stuff to enrich my life. And it's been a long time since I've actually downloaded an app. And since we both got new phones, he went to the App Store and he was there for like 2 days, still trying to find a simple app to map out our weightlifting plan. We've always been kind of aimless when we're lifting weights, but it's much easier to keeping a log of the reps and sets and exercises you're supposed to do on certain days for certain exercises. So he wanted a simple app like that. I swear to God, this is not a segue into some sponsorship. No. But it kind of sounds like that, right?
Write it down. For F's sake. You don't need a phone app for this. What the F? Just write it down. I mean, I trade very differently if I actually want. I set my goal to every 2 days something small or big or until I freaking almost die, but use paper for F's sake.
But we just wanted a simple app that just gives a timer and a calculation for the reps we're allowed to do based on our maximum output. Every single app he found required a freaking subscription, or they just give you jack shit to coerce you into signing up for a subscription or giving your email like, oh wow, you want to put in how many reps you should do for this exercise? You want to see, there's only 2 available. You want to see these other potential exercises you might want to log? You got to give your email. You got to sign up for $5 a freaking month. Like, why? Why?
Because
again,
it works.
People are asking for $3.99 a month for a stupid simple app that should cost at max $3.99 outright lifetime. The greed is freaking insane.
I agree with that one, yes. If you paid a one-time payment for an app like this, it just won't get updated, fair enough. Then it would be fine, yes. But subs? Nah.
Incessant. And it's there because we've allowed it to run rampant. So this is why people were boycotting Nintendo when the Switch 2 with prices and the prices of the games came out, because the price hikes are just ridiculous and they're charging for every single thing. It's not just that everything is expensive, but every little thing that ordinarily would be free on other consoles or that Nintendo used to make for free or just comes with it is now a freaking other paywall. Something's locked behind a paywall. A button that's built into the console or a part of the console is now locked behind a paywall. You can't even use it if you don't pay. A lot of the things that people also have an issue with involve older games and hardware still selling for these ridiculous prices, even in 2025. The Nintendo Switch came out, what, like 2017? Every other console or product usually sees a decrease in price over time. Not Nintendo though. We've got to keep that price up for the Nintendo Switch because here's a Switch Lite, or let's just call it something else and release it, and there's barely any improvements, but they're still asking us for premium prices.
Because we now have 100% confirmation that the C button on the Nintendo Switch 2 is actually going to cost you. Now I do believe they mentioned this in the Direct, but I think it just got overshadowed, but now it's like coming to light for a lot of people. Yes, you will need Nintendo Online in order to use their Discord. And then they also say, hey, if you can't afford the Switch 2, remember, we still got the Switch 1. Yeah, sounding a little familiar. And then they've got the gall to charge for their welcome tour, and they're like, it's just $10. We worked hard on this. Okay, cool. And now no one's gonna see it because we're not buying it. And this is all after they
People are buying it. There are enough people that are buying it. Let's not kid ourselves. Sadly, I wish it wasn't true. And I hope, by every unholy freaking god and every blood sacrifice I can get, that I am freaking wrong about it. But sadly, as most of the times, I am correct.
Open the floodgates of having $80 video games and this fluctuating prices. Doug Bowser himself has confirmed they have not put a cap on this. $80 does not mean it's going to be the maximum. But here's what kills me more. I cannot wait to see 50% of the comments and several stitches of this video defending this crap. Because if there's two fan bases in this world who cannot take criticism, it's Nintendo fans and Soulsborne fans. Because for some reason they can't understand this mutual exclusivity, that I enjoy the things Nintendo puts out and I'm looking forward to this Switch in their game, but also being critical on how they were going about this. The business model of Nintendo is incredibly frustrating because every one of you just eat it up. They charge $80 and you say, I'd pay $100. They charge you for online features. You go, it's only $20. I gotta have that webcam in 480p. I'm incredibly excited for Dustbloods, the new Metroid Prime.
Yes, sadly. You know what? I would want to play Duskbloods, but I won't. Why? Because it's too expensive in my opinion. So I'm just not gonna buy it. Point. You have other ways to enjoy your effing games. Wink wink. Nudge nudge. Just don't effing buy it. Why? And people who are defending this, if you like it, if you wanna overpay, then do it. But people who don't want to do it, just don't do it. You won't play a game. Well, boo the fucking poo. I also had to give up games that I love or wanted to play the second part of it, but it was an exclusive. It didn't go out. It goes out a year, and I just don't buy them. Point.
Prime, the new Donkey Kong games looks awesome. You better believe I'm super stoked for Kirby Air Ride. I'm glad the tech in this thing seems to be significantly better. I personally have been asking for a more powerful console. But you can still be excited for this while being critical. I don't know why that's so freaking hard for people to understand.
The games as well that are exclusive to the console, like Zelda or Mario, they barely drop in price. And you know, some people might not take issue with this, and that's fine. But in modern times, a lot of their games are buggy. But if you play older games from the older systems, they don't have this issue. As someone who loves Pokemon, I actually dropped playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because it was just like, yuck. It felt like an early draft, early access game that shouldn't cost any money. Not just that, but it felt very off. Like, very incomplete, very corporate. It just didn't feel like Pokemon anymore. It felt like something wearing a Pokemon skin. And that's why people gave him shit when they went after Pal World, because Pal World is actually doing something innovative. The thing is, they really couldn't get much on Pal World, but you know they were tight with how successful Pal World got when they saw that. Like, people are just always so eager to bend over backwards to defend Nintendo, even in situations where it had nothing to do with anything that Nintendo has, but one of the freaking monster's ears in some other game happens to look a little bit too much like Pikachu's ears, even though Nintendo themselves also took huge inspiration from previous games and would be seen in modern day as ripping off those games. But oh no, everybody has selective memory when it comes to that.
You get to pay $200 for a video game, but then I realized that the free pack-in game that shows off the Switch technology, that's actually $60. So what I propose is that for the people dumb enough to buy that, they should get a $3 discount for Mario Kart World, which costs $233 total. I think what Nintendo has realized is that gamers are extremely weak-willed them will pay unlimited money for the lowest quality games. Wow!
And Video Game Donkey's right. I mean, you got people who will admit that they're tired of things feeling boring and gray, but yet they'll bend over backwards, snapping their spine in 4 different quadrants to suck Nintendo's meat hose. I think the main reason why people will pay so much money for these games, though, or they're willing to, is, and it's a really simple thing, and it sounds like this might not be it, but I swear to God it is, it's because most of us are bad with money. Let's just be honest. There are a lot of people here who make fun of rich people and don't like them, and the main reasons they don't like rich people isn't because rich people are corrupt. No, that's not the number one reason. Yes, there are a lot of rich people that are corrupt, but there are also a lot of rich people that are just living their lives and not bothering anybody, and they give to charities and they help out and they live well. But the thing is, the people that are the most angry are the ones that don't have that want that. My godfather has a freaking mansion in the islands, and he's wealthy and he's just living his life. I mean, his ex-wife kind of gouged the hell out of him, but still, he's living very well, and the dude is in his early 50s, he's an older man, yet he's out there looking like he's 30 with his physique, chasing women, playing in sports, enjoying himself, giving to charities, but he's living a life that most of us would live if we had that kind of money. We all get salty over things that we don't have that we want. Every single one of us will probably turn our nose up at rich people, but if someone came and offered you $50 million, you wouldn't have shit to say. And you would probably make all the same moves that rich people are making. If someone asked you, if they said to you, I will give you $10 million to eat my freaking week old turds, you'd be like, gobble, gobble, master, let's go. Like, a lot of you people are like, oh, I'd never do that. I would never suck it. Yes, you would. Yes, you would, for the right price. Everyone says everyone has a price. There's a reason why people say that. Because for the right price, you would find some donkey dick dude and you would do that. It would be uncomfortable and you probably wouldn't want people knowing about it, but you the rationale in your head is, look, I will asphyxiate on that freaking piece of turgid flesh so that I could get $10 million. Some people would do it for way less, just saying. Yep. And some people would probably be so happy with the offer that they throw in a second service for free. And I'm talking about straight dudes. Yes, I am. There are people out there that would probably risk dying and coming back to life for chopping off their arm just to get that kind of money. And then every single one of you would turn into Belinda from White Lotus, from a humble, nice person to the person who cuts off people that you like and that you care for because situations have changed for you. I can't tell you how mad this bitch made me, I swear to God. Like, she went from being my favorite character to just really freaking icky, because money really does change people, and every single one of us, if it doesn't change your circumstance, it changes your personality, or both.
I know I'm not supposed to be attached to this kind of stuff, and I don't want to think that I am, but like, I don't know, I think I am.
Yep.
Oh, I know I am. Like, the idea that I'm like this princess who needs things to be a certain way, it's just so pathetic.
So yeah, just like those dudes in White Lotus, you would be making those same moves. You would be moving exactly in the same way a lot of those rich people, if you were smart, that is. You'd be cutting off people who mismanage their money, even though a lot of you, I know, most of you, if you got that kind of money all of a sudden that you didn't really work for, you'd mismanage the hell out of it and blow it all in within a year. But you see, the smart people would be quite content with making that money work for them and investing and never having to worry again. They would, regardless of your color, fly out of a neighborhood that they no longer feel safe in because those people would target them because of how much money they have. Please tell me, which one of y'all would give away every cent or 70% of what you had if you got rich to people all around you that didn't get that and that didn't work for it or was as successful as you in swallowing the body part that you were required to swallow to get that? Which one of you would do that? People say that with money, you know, you should just give it away. Give all your money away. Would you? Especially if you worked your ass off to build an empire for your family. Don't lie. Most of you would not. It doesn't even matter. Even if you were giving it for free, most of you would not. And I say that to say we're all humans. But the reason why most of us aren't rich, or at the very least financially well off, is not just because our daddies didn't become oil emperors or whatever. It's because we were taught to be consumers and to conform and to swallow and swallow well. Don't spit, just swallow everything that the corporations force down your throat. We were taught to consume, not produce. It's why we're called consumers. It takes a lot less risk and effort to do so. And some people say they're happy with just going to a 9 to 5 and having that routine and never having to think. That's easy. That's what most people do. Some people are happy with daddy government taking care of them and having every single one of their rights taken away as long as they don't have to think or do anything. They'll complain and complain that more rights are being taken away from them, but they won't do shit. But it just keep happening over and over because it's easier than fighting or standing up or going against the grain. Instant gratification falls in line with that. And that's why when companies like Nintendo hike up the prices for things, it's easier to just complain and then buy it anyway. Because boycotting or going without your precious pieces of entertainment is much harder than standing up for what you believe in. People who...
The thing is, it's not even hard. Just don't buy it. Simple as that. Or simple, yes. I will agree that it's always easier to say than do. But at some point, come on. Like,
are bad with money are the people who don't have the discipline to delay instant gratification. Oh dear God, they're charging $100 for a game that I really want. Well, if I pay $100 for that game, it's going to reinforce them charging $100 for other games, and then other companies are going to see this and do the same thing. I can boycott it, but then every other one of my friends and family are going to get it and not boycott it. I'm going to be missing out. What am I going to do? Yep, you'll be missing out, you know. You'll still be upset. You'll still want it. You know what you'll still have though? $100 $100 that you could put into your savings towards buying a house or towards some kind of investment, you know, towards building something and supplying some kind of demand that needs to be met for what the consumers need. And every little bit counts, especially now. Well, going back to the whole gym app thing, my husband ended up finding an app and it was the only one in the entire app store that wasn't asking for a subscription. It's very simple and to the point. And my husband's a programmer, so what he thought was like, wow, this looks like it was made by someone who saw what was available in the app store and got fed up and made his own. Because that's something that my husband would do. Of course, it takes a lot of work, but I commend that person. And other people are looking for this. By the way, it's called Gym Tracker. It's very hard to find for some reason, and it has the explanation at the end. It was available, and it was no subscription at the time this video was made. But yeah, that's the only one we found so far. And when we find apps like that or software like that, we need to support those. We need to donate to those and not keep giving these greedy corporations our subscriptions. We're paying them to do jack shit. I mean, even with Adobe Premiere, I've used it for so many years and I'm looking for an alternative now. Some people might even acquire the older versions that didn't require subscriptions because they're fed up with that shit. Because aside from the AI stuff here and there, they're not really doing anything. You're paying $30 per software, sometimes up to $40 per software, depending on the software, and the whole suite to do jack shit. I mean, I use CapCut more than I use Premiere now, and I only use Premiere for my story stuff, and that's because it's easier to record a voiceover in Premiere than it is CapCut. Because CapCut has a stupid timer thing, and you can't opt out of it for recording. I don't know why. But the minute they fix that, I will dump Premiere because I barely ever use it. Like, that's the only thing I ever use it for. I still use Audition, though. But the point is, I don't think I'm the only one who's getting sick and tired of these people price gouging. Games are unfinished, but you're still paying $70 for them. We're getting microtransactions in full price games, which makes no freaking sense.
That's not the...
I'm just gonna repeat myself, it works.
Victory. The real victory is in beating the corporate fat cats at their own game and wrestling back control of the market. That is the ultimate win. This is the most important moment in gaming to modern date.
Consumers are paying more while receiving less control and lower quality. And the thing is, if we don't start pushing back against this and saying, no, enough is enough, this will become the standard. Companies like Nintendo will continue doing this because you're telling them this is what you want. You're telling them that you'll continue paying for this no matter what. And even...
I remember exactly when Blizzard started to actually implement their store mounts, and everybody was like, oh, that's fine, it's Blizzard, we understand, it is what it is. And now, well, if you know Blizzard, you know the rest of the story.
Even if you complain, they can't hear you because the language that they speak is money. If you're still giving them money, that is your way of saying, I'm complaining. Yeah, I'm not really happy. But I'm still okay with this. And I want you to keep doing this. That's your way of saying, God damn it, you're smacking me around a lot every day and I cry, but I still stay with you. So clearly I like it. And I don't think it's bad enough for me to leave.
And they are unwilling to think logically on these things. They're unwilling to hear out the other side. Most of this is inspired by a blind love for Nintendo and its products. I understand that, and I empathize. I love many things in pop culture, but I'm not blinded by my love for something. You must be able to criticize and judge the things you love, lest they be corrupted by bad faith actors, just like we're seeing with Nintendo right now.
Anyway, all that rant is to say, I know people will still come out in droves and support Nintendo and buy these games, and the games look good enough, you're not going to want to miss out, you're going to want to enjoy it and whatnot. But don't be surprised if you get to the point or a milestone in society where you're now priced out of the very things that you enjoy because you can't afford them. You literally cannot afford them, and what used to be a hobby for everyone will at that point become exclusive to people who are rich and can afford it. At this point, you can't fully put all the blame on Nintendo for taking advantage of a broken system that we've allowed to foster this kind of behavior.
I would disagree. You still can blame them, but it's actually something that, yeah, if you get to do it and people just swallow it, why not? Honestly, why not?
And no, it is more than just inflation. Anyways, that's my 2 cents, which is like all most people will have now, just trying to afford freaking games. I wouldn't be surprised if it got to the point where games are so expensive you can only afford to buy one out of the year, if at all. Because remember, games are not the only thing going up in price. Good luck out there.
So Nintendo has a paid downloadable tour of the Switch. That's not even free. You literally have to pay for this when you can just watch it on YouTube. See, this is how greedy Nintendo is. See, Nintendo, bro, y'all bugging now, bro. Because at this point, y'all really just doing too much. Because somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but back in my day, Wii Sports was free. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, I could be wrong, but I remember Wii Sports being free. See, this is why I say that we have to put our foot down with everybody. See, y'all be want to boycott companies, but y'all only want to pick and choose which companies y'all want to boycott. Because I promise you, Microsoft and Sony are looking back and they taking notes at this. This is why I say all the time that we have to hold all these companies to the same standard. Because this shit is unacceptable across the board.
True. I just think this won't happen because people that actually make a mistake of buying this don't want to admit their fault. Acolytes, remember one thing. Everybody, including me, including you, including everyone else in this life, will make a mistake. Do not be afraid of admitting it and correcting it and actually growing because of it. It will happen. It will happen until the day you end and start serving me. But just admit it at some point. And if we just get around this, maybe in the future, we actually can dodge this somewhat and make a good thing out of it. But as it is, good night.